I'm not gonna lie, I didn't think I would make this video. I didn't foresee this video ever being a thing. But just before we get too far into the disbeliefs, let me do a few things. And honestly, I feel like for me, these are very important things to do. I'm going to attempt to further than normal separate myself from the toxic pieces of crap that have been threatening Larian. And I only know one way to do so: to embrace that which I am. A clown. Now, let me make something very, very clear here, okay? I am not affiliated with these tools. I am disgusted by these tools. I am repulsed by these tools. I am ashamed of these tools. And I view them as the cancer they are, that unfortunately we struggle to remove to this day. Much like the jackasses who buy Madden bullshit and other micro garbage and gambling crap and pay to win bullshit, we are having troubles excising these tumors. We're not sure what more we can do other than just wait and hope they all disappear. We're out of ideas. I get that clear. I should not remove this, especially since it's making me sound worse than I normally sound. Now that I've done that, now that I've separated myself from those disgraces as much as I possibly can, let me get to with me in this video and the reason why it's titled Dear Larian. Here's the thing. Honestly, hearing that they are going to be doing mod support is honestly, especially since it would be for both the PC and for PS5, to say I'm excited is a disgusting understatement. This is kind of like saying that this fat man likes pie. This is kind of like saying I like steak. Okay, this is kind of like saying I love food. I'm a foodie, fool. That means that I adore food and have a mystical experience whenever I eat good food. So needless to say, I'm pretty freaking excited. There are some things that I want to kind of address, though. Some things I want to kind of say. I don't have a Twitter account. I don't want a Twitter account. I will never start a Twitter account. No, I cannot be paid enough to ever consider it. If I did ever make a Twitter account, it would probably be only after the top 5 richest people in all of the world dump their entire bank accounts in front of my lap. And that is literally what it would take. No, I'm not going to call it X. You can bite me. Now, here's the thing, okay? Honestly, I love the idea of having full proper mod support. Especially since, like I said, I know exactly the first mods I'm downloading. I'm downloading the mod that allows me to get to level 20. I'm downloading the mod that gives me races. And I'm downloading a mod that gives me subclasses. If I have time after that, maybe I'll look for some kind of pervy mod. Just to give it a shot. But 100 times out of 2, I'm probably going to go with those first 3 mods, and I'm going to hunt them down like a psychopath looking for a victim. Like, I will be obsessively looking for that. Now, here's the things, though. And I've seen this happen many times, so many times, to the point where, honestly, it's become an eye-rolling moment. But if you've seen Nexus, you know how they handle their business. And what they do with their business is kind of hypocritical and all over the damn place. And here's the thing is, even outside of stuff like the whole, gender bullshit, mods have to, that just are absolutely idiotic. Gender swapping one male character into a female being fine, but gender swapping a female into a male suddenly being not okay. That's not even the worst. part about it, honestly. They have not. This isn't even something new about their whole the moderating the mods and basically deciding for other people what they can or can't have. Please, Larian, do not do that. Look, yes, it's going to equal some mods that are either messed up or twisted or dark or perverted as all hell, and probably tons of weird, nonsensical stuff. You might get a Thomas the Tank Engine mod. Okay? You might get a mod that turns all bugbears into a friggin' Thomas the Tank Engine. That might happen. Honestly, you need that though. You do. The thing is, when it comes to mods, it's not even just about modding in something big. Modding should be never controlled by an individual. Proper modding should be, do you mod this? Yes or no. And that's about it. Look, having some support section that could, like, kind of like inform, hey, we're gonna do a patch this day. You're gonna want to be ready for it. Stuff like that. That is completely fine. But don't do like Nexus has been doing, where they have someone who has basically got their fingers in the freaking pie and is making sure to filter out stuff that doesn't align with that person's either politics or BS ideals. Mods shouldn't be like that. Mods should be about, do you want this thing in your system? Yes or no. It's about modding in and modding out things with absolute zero impunity. That it's supposed to be something you just do. You just do because this will help me have more fun. This will help me play the game more. And doing what Nexus has done would honestly not help you guys in the slightest. It wouldn't help your game in the slightest. It wouldn't help anything in the slightest. And in fact, doing it the way Nexus has would only cause more problems than it's actually worth. Now, while I would love it if you guys made these free, I would love that. It's not priority one. Priority one is making sure that this thing has not just legs to stand on, but is able to stand on those legs almost indefinitely. Not because you aren't going to make more games in the future, obviously, but just as a precaution and just for its own well-being. Not having someone who is filtering stuff based off of their politics or their ideals or their beliefs or their idea of what right and wrong is, whether it's correct right and wrong or wrong right and wrong, ultimately you benefit more just from doing it that way. You do. In the long term and in the short term, you far more benefit from it that way. So please, keep that in mind. Now, number 2. Do ignore these clowns who are absolutely, honestly, look, these people who are sending you death threats, I promise you, they are not the real player base. They're not real gamers, and I hate to say it, but honestly, we're just as disgusted at how they're behaving as you are. That much I can promise. We are also disgusted. We are also repulsed at what they're doing. And many of us, even those of us who have zero modding experience prior, like this idiot right here, even I have enough brains to tell you that before you start modding a game, you should probably wait till it's no longer being updated. Now here's the thing that some people have said, I'll just use an older patch, just stop it from updating. The thing is that Steam is kind of scummy about that, and they kind of will like shadow update shit without actually doing what you've told them to do, which is to not update. They've done it to me a few times. So yeah. In fact, they shadow updated so many times, I eventually just said F it and just let them update whenever. Just so I didn't have to deal with being surprised. Now here's the thing is, Anyone who thinks that this is going to be a quick process, oh dear Lord, no. No. God, no. No with no. Not even remotely. Okay, just try to understand. Try to picture this. You have a game that's kind of like a metronome in a sense, right? You have a metronome, it is going back and forth, no issues. You've decided to, despite the fact that it's not designed to, you've decided to make it 4D. Originally, a metronome was supposed to swing on one direction, like this. You decided you want it swinging like this. Do you see the problem yet? Basically, this thing is already fine tuned to work a specific way, which means trying to make mods happen requires you to basically have to go through each and every teensy tiny little bit. Now, here's the thing: is I greatly appreciate this because, like I said, I really do need the stuff that honestly for me them being missing sucks. Like it wasn't for how stable and good the game was. If it didn't have that, this game actually would have hurt and it'd score a ton because of how much stuff was missing. Just to give you a mental idea. Like originally when this game was first, now I wouldn't say released, but like getting a couple weeks away from it, I was excited thinking, I'm going to play a goblin, barbarian, he's going to be a decent dude, it's going to screw with everybody's head, why is this goblin saving people's lives and helping people? What's with the giant toothpick that ultimately for him is a two-handed sword? Like, just the idea of this tiny little thing that is typically not a alignment of good in any way, shape, or form is doing good and is trying to save people. Like, especially during the early bit, I was so excited for that because I was just like, how are these people going to handle that? They've been attacked by goblins, but now they're being saved by a goblin. But there is no goblins. And I do kind of like, I also wish like there was that whole, kind of mixed race stuff. Like I thought originally it would be really cool to play as a half dwarf, half tiefling warlock. Little did I realize at the time, though, but I was going to name him Sven. I didn't realize at the time that that was the CEO's name. I'm embarrassed to admit that I did not know that. Oops. It was so embarrassing when I found out, and I remember just laughing my butt off, thinking like, "Oh, I didn't mean to do that. Neat." Ugh. But yeah, I had all these ideas, and then I found out, oh no, it's just the pretty basic stuff. Even the basic Dragonborn. Damn. It was, there were some parts that were kind of like a bummer. Like I kind of wish I could have used flight to actually just in the air fly about. Is what I kind of was hoping. Camera, hello. Okay, you're gonna have to see my PJ derriere for a moment. For some reason, in the dark, it's causing the cam to like bug the F out hard. So, one sec. Now, here's the thing. Honestly, when it comes down to it, I am excited for mods. But here's the truth, the just abject reality. It will not happen tomorrow. It ain't gonna happen. No. Honestly, any delusions of this thing being done, ready, and going. Here's the thing. Ultimately, for me, what I want to hammer home, Larian ignored the toxic scum that we still cannot excise. Do what you've done, do what you've been doing, and continue to do what you do best. Which honestly is make games the right way. Handle gaming the right way. Communication is your best weapon. Please continue to keep it, despite the freaking cysts that we haven't been able to get rid of yet. I do apologize on their behalf and for their existence. Unfortunately, like I said, they've been a bit hard to get rid of. Just in case any of those types of people are watching this video, allow me to kindly educate you idiot ass, okay? Here's the thing, as this is going to blow your mind, but for decades now, death threats have not helped anybody. They have not fixed any games. They have not been worth anything at all. You have wasted your time, your effort, your mental ability. You have wasted everyone else's time that you sent this to who had to read that garbage. And then you also wasted everybody who is just having to deal with being accused of being among you, when in reality, we are just as disgusted by you as the others. We don't like you. We kind of hate you. Give me a sec. People who send death threats just gave me a massive aneurysm. You are fixing nothing. You are helping nothing. You are making yourself look like a psychotic scumbag. You are making the rest of us who have no affiliation to you look like psychotic scumbags. Please stop. Especially since what you're doing is meaningless. Empty, trash garbage that will never do anything. Has never done anything. And I hate to break to you, but has continued to do nothing. All it has done has been worthless and garbage. That's all it's done. Now, if you think you're trying to help some of you, okay? Some of you think that you're being helpful. You're not. In fact, if anything, you are actually the opposite. You are making things harder. You are making things more time-consuming. You are making things more difficult. And look, here's the reality: is setting up any game to be modded. It doesn't matter how big or how small. Setting a game up to be modded takes a lot of time. A lot. Setting up a mod support is not something you just do. No. Never. Never has, never will. Honestly, it takes some time, it takes effort, it takes manpower to make a game like Baldur's Gate 3 into what you're hoping. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, we're all excited for the payoff of it, all right? We are. We are all excited for what that future entails. No lie. Hell, even one of the people who works in that company, even they're excited for what this entails, for what comes of it. And I'm going to tell you right now, we are all excited, and there is nothing wrong with being a little frustrated. There's nothing wrong with that. All right, when you've modded a game and got all the mods you really wanted and really needed, and they're there and they're functional, and then because of a patch no longer, that's completely understandable being frustrated with that. But it has such a disturbingly simple solution to the point of making your death threats look even more dumb than they already are. And they were already brain dead level of dumb and meaningless and empty and garbage and trash. Okay? Ultimately, the easiest answer is simple. Quit modding it. Just stop. Stop modding it entirely. Stop modding it until it is ready for it. For when it is set up for it, okay? Then you can start going back into that. But for now, just hold off on modding until this is set up. Until things are ready. And then go hard. And if you're a mod author out there, let me tell you right now. When this happens, I guarantee damn well to you, you're going to see Gamin King somewhere up in there. It's unavoidable. It's undodgeable. It's facts. I'm going to be up in there. And I'm going to tell you right now, anybody who is wanting to see Gamin King on their freaking mod and download their mod instantaneously, races, subclasses, level 20 cap, those three things are literally the first thing I'm hunting for. So just keep that in the back of their mind if you want to see Gamin King done been here in the first second of it dropping. That's a good way to do it. Honestly, you'd be infinitely better off just not sending anything at all. No, really. That's how meaningless and empty death threats actually are. And I do apologize for the background laundry. I haven't really dealt with it yet. Now, let me make this very clear. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with being frustrated. The exact opposite. Okay, it is completely understandable to be frustrated about it. But death threats will never make it better. Ever. In fact, if anything, it only makes things worse if it does anything at all. People who are sending death threats to Larian, there are a few ways that can help them. Then there is a little bit of an outside way of helping them as well. Now, a big thing is making it very clear to them that not only has this never helped before, has never helped to this day, but honestly is guaranteed to never help into the future either. And it has only been a waste of time on everyone's part, or has caused more problems than it's worth. Now they can fix this by realizing, oh, this is awful behavior. I shouldn't do this. But there's another method. If they have someone who gives an F about them in their life, there is an alternative. Walk up and right across the face. They still haven't snapped out of it? Go again. Bigger wind-up this time. Honestly, that's the kind of thing. For some of them, what they need is gentle. For some of them, they need it rough. And sadly, I'm not making a sex joke for once. Which feels wrong, honestly. I should be making a sex joke instead. I'm being literal. And as long as you're not doing this crap, and as long as you are being vocal in the appropriate, healthy ways, you can actually have a big impact even on stuff like stability, because these guys actually listen and are very adamant about maintaining communication, not just with each other, but also with the community. Now, to point out the cruel irony of if I ever have to give you advice on what is healthy, or tell you you need to take the healthier route in anything, that is never a good thing. Like, never. If I'm having to tell you any of this stuff, that means you have already crossed a bit of a line and need to start stepping it up. Bad. Look, think of it like this. I am a clown. I am the fool. I am a jester. I am the living, sentient joke. If I ever start to look like I have my shite together and look healthy when compared to you, we have a problem. You have a big problem and need help. Ugh. Like, honestly, that's why a lot of my videos are titled The Fool or Fools. Because I openly admit that I am a clown. Clown, remember? That's who I am. This thing, even though it's not on my face right now, might as well just be right here and ready. I am the clown. I am the fool. I am the sentient joke. And I love it. Now, whether or not Larian sees this video, I honestly severely doubt. I sooner believe leprechauns fly and know how to do the freaking shocking grasp cantrip. I sooner buy that. But I do want to say this. I've been playing for rough almost 750 hours since its release. And the only reason it's that low is because I've had other games that I was trying to review as well at the time. And while I don't like tactician mode in the slightest, and it is awful, it's not fun, I would tell you this much. Even with that aspect, this is still easily the best game I've played in a long time. And honestly, unless they do it sometime near the end of this month or early next month, unless that happens, the odds of me having only 750 hours by the time of them adding in the whole mod support or the much needed, much wanted cross-platform play, I'm going to tell you right now, it's pretty much 110% guaranteed that I myself will completely and absolutely have double the playtime by the time they add mods and crossplay. It's kind of unavoidable. I have too much of an addiction here. Then there's also the fact that now I'm playing it with my girl on top of that. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if I more than doubled that. I wouldn't be surprised if I'm at 15 or even possibly 1,700 hours by the time they release this thing. I'm having too much fun. And I'm going to tell you, even just now, I saw a bug for the first time. I've never seen this bug before this moment at all. But I managed to have my character become Kendalled. For those of you who don't know what a Kendall is, imagine no male genitalia, just a slope. Yeah. It was a funny bug, and I'm going to see if it's still going or can be recreated. But given the track record with this game, I wouldn't be surprised if it's no longer doable, which is kind of sad. Because I thought it was absolutely bloody hilarious, and it was funny, and it even made my girl laugh pretty good too. On top of that, it was funny, and I would love to try and especially since I'm playing as a monk and because of the event of the Emerald Grove Massacre. Love you, sweetie. Ultimately, I still don't know how she did that. Ultimately, um, it's just I would love to have my monk running around Kendalled. I feel like it'd be funny as hell, and I probably would die laughing by the end of it all. But I doubt it. Pretty much every bug that has been really funny and really, really funny has ultimately been unrepeatable. I'm almost bummed, honestly. I really am. It was such a funny bug, and like I said, still playing as a monk, and we don't have friggin' merchants no more. I basically am pretty much buck naked dropping stuff at every chance. Anything that is picked up has to be a minimum of green. And I can't stress that hard enough. A minimum of green. So yeah. I'm having so much fun playing with my girl. And I do kind of want to add this. Just for the sake of adding this. This is not something that's a necessity for Larian necessarily, but I'm going to tell you right now, it's something I myself, I would greatly appreciate it, and I know for a fact also there's also Smab who would even more so than me, would adore this being added. Now, whether this is done through a mod or maybe through an actual patch from Larian, I don't think it matters one way or the other which one it is. But I know for a fact that, honestly, it doesn't impact me the way it does her. But it still does impact me enough to the point where it's not being here kind of sucks. And that's both the hold and the dodge action. For those of you who don't know, the hold and dodge action, hold allowed you to hold off your turn until someone else, either for reaction abilities or what have you. Ultimately, I do kind of agree that the lacking of hold and dodge action does kind of suck. Now, granted, for her case, it's far more than just sucks. For her, that's like almost detrimental. For me, it's not. It wasn't. It was enough to a point where I'm like, oh, that sucks. That's missing. But it didn't take away from me the overall experience. Now for Smab, it's a bit of a different case. It did kind of take away from the experience and has made it harder for her to like fully dive in. For me, that those two things weren't really that as much. Those were not as much of an issue as the missing races and subclasses for me. For me, those two things missing was more of a negative than that. But I do kind of agree that the missing honestly sucks. It's ultimately kind of sometimes unfortunate because there also are times where I kind of wish I had that option. So this way I could just go after an enemy instead of sometimes before it. Times where I would get my fighter who's going first. And meantime, everybody else would be after an opponent or two that would cut off. And not having the hold action in those moments honestly sucked. Because I was set up to be able to like basically create giant platforms of concentration damage. The problem, like I said, is this. That while I've come up with a better team, I don't have a hold action. With no hold action, what this does is it means the cool setups that I have where my team can go off are kind of live or die by if my team's bunched up together or not. It is so very, very unfortunate that those two things are missing. And just ending your turn is not the same thing as holding an action, before anyone misunderstands. Ending turn is not the same thing as holding your action. Ending your turn means that you're going to get attacked by all these enemies, your other characters are going to go, and that character's going to have to wait until the next turn to do anything. Hold action basically just allows you to decide, okay, I want to let this, or this many go off, and then so on and so on. Here's an example. If I decided to use hold action, how it's supposed to work here is it's supposed to allow me to basically take my fighter who is going up first before anything and everything and allow them to basically just hold off and then make their attack do their turn instead with the rest of my group. What this allows me to do is that allows me to basically focus on the tactic that I've set up in my head. If you're someone out there who's upset about, their mods breaking, you're not alone. It's frustrating. It has happened to plenty of modders. You are not alone. But also at the same time, even those of us who haven't modded know how much work you had to put in. And even we understand and agree that you have every right to be a bit frustrated. You have every reason to be a bit frustrated. But you also need to remember that this coming from the clown, might I add, the healthy method of dealing with this isn't about sending death threats. No. It is very much about just acknowledging that this is going to be how things are for a bit until things are fixed up and finalized. Until things are done being fixed themselves. So for now, all modding of the game put on hold until it is ready for it. And then dive in hard. Okay? Especially those of you who are mod authors, mod creators. Alright? Especially you guys. Alright? Things aren't set up for it yet. But the moment that freaking green light flashes, gun it. And it keeps doing that. Oh my god. Anyways, I think that's a good sign to tell me to shut up on top of the fact that this video is already longer than I wanted / intended. Oh joy. Please forgive. I didn't mean for it to bloat this much. Ultimately, I hope you managed to laugh at me. I hope you managed to laugh with me. Crack some jokes about the laundry just sitting there. Or the fact that the camera decided to bug out when it was dark. I'll let you pick. Ultimately, I do want to make sure that I end with this. If you're going to take anything away from this video, please take this most of all. More than anything else. Making a game that was already finalized one way, able to be modded, is not an easy process. It is not a quick process. It is not a snap of the finger process. It is a process that takes. So please, be patient. It will get fixed. I have no doubt in my mind about that. Larian has already proven on many occasions that they will fix whatever needs to be fixed. Ultimately, it's going to take time. So please be patient. Understand that you will have to put basically a hold on modding games or making mods for the time being. But the moment that green light goes, just know we are excited, we are pumped, we will freaking be there. Even if we have to trip over an old lady, which goes against our very core ideals and way we do our lives, I will not miss it. I will apologize to the granny as I beeline. I am excited for mods and I can't wait for them to happen, especially since, like I said, I already know exactly the mods I am literally beelining right for in an instant. And I can't wait for later today. It's going to be good.